find ourselves in a typical suburban front garden. Typical in that it's very geometric, but also that it's pretty much devoid of action.
Well, the only action we're getting around here is experiencing a little tropical shower.
And that actually might be a clue as to the sort of makeover we're going to perform here today. But more on that shortly. Julie Moore was top of our list when we decided to tackle a subtropical planting design. With over 20 years in the biz, Julie's garden makeover is set to be a visual feast. So Jules, just what is the plan then?
Well, the plan today, Paul, is we're going to create a fabulous subtropical garden.
It looks amazing, but how are you going to drop a subtropical garden into a bare patch like this?
Yeah, right. Well, the wall that we're sitting on now, that's got to go. It's falling down, and we're going to replace that with some big boulders which look fabulous in a subtropical setting. So we're going to create an informal garden using big, bold, dramatic, lush foliage and a lot of material like the bluestone here, which is a very earthy product.
Well, Jules, sounds like it's going to be a full-scale turnaround. The good news is that the crew from Price and Humphreys are on hand and they're ready to rock and roll. The front section is quite small, so to create the illusion of space, we're moving things around, including this fence, to elongate the garden.
Well, Julie, in your designs, it's about big, bold and beautiful.
Absolutely, Bill, and you can't get anything more dramatic in the garden as the strelitzia. Look at the foliage and the contrast between that and the palm. That's what subtropical is all about, dramatic foliage and colour within the garden, all year round colour. We've got pockets of annuals. We could have bromeliads at the base to give us that lush tropical look.
So you're not really limited. You can use shrubs, perennials, mix and match.
Yes, and the climber here, that's just beautiful. Just gives you a little bit of scent in the garden as well, doesn't it?
Stephanotis.
Absolutely.
The bridal flower, they sometimes call it.
That's right, they do too.
Listen, don't be frightened if you live in a colder area, because there's lots of substitutes. You don't have to be in exotic locations to have a tropical garden.
Sipping in the side, peeping in the eye, really knows a long time ago. Sipping in the side.
Well, that all happened pretty fast. Now we've successfully turned the front garden into a war zone, but don't worry, it's not going to stay like that for long. When you next see us, we will start implementing Jules's design. Welcome back to our subtropical makeover. Now, Jamie, our Bobcat Supremo, is tidying things up out front and making us a nice level playing field. Down the side here, Jules is going to improve the access with a couple of decks. Now, Tim, this isn't decking as we've seen it before, so what are you doing here?
Well, what we've done, Paul, is we've pre-made the framework up in the garage and we've brought it in here, put it into place. We've used joist hangers here. All the timber above the ground is H3.
Okay.
Any timber touching the ground is H4.
Righty-ho, so that withstands all the moisture for us.
That's right, that way the deck will last. The other thing we've done is we've pre-drilled our holes and we've gone down about 500 and our posts are about 350, so that leaves a gap of concrete for the post to sit on, so the weight won't go through the ground.
And then on goes the timbers, eh?
Just flat these, I've pre-cut these, they'll fit into place, and away we go.
We will rock you.
There's been some pretty hefty landscaping going on. Now, you are pretty fond of your rocks, aren't you, Jules?
I love using my rocks, Paul. In fact, I've chosen this baby here because we needed a big rock to balance the landscape. The road is sloping away and it gives the impression that the whole site is sloping away. So by putting this rock here, we not only stabilise the bank that we've just taken the wall away from, but we actually give it some oomph, which we're going to need in our landscape.
This area is completely planted and it's kind of interesting because it's mainly foliage. And some of them are indoor plants. This is grown as an indoor plant, but can be used grown outside even in the cold south because A trick is that in early spring, when the frosts are finished, you can always take it from inside, put it outside, and then lift it again in early to mid-autumn and put it back inside. So you can still have these textures in a garden lower down. This alocasia is a new one. It's called jungle green. And you can see why. The markings on the leaf are very much like camouflage. So it's a delightful plant. It is deciduous in that it dies down and then will come away again, and again frost tender. And down here, you could always say the runner of the world, Tradescantia. Now, Tradescant was an English botanist, and he travelled the world, and the plant has certainly travelled with it.
So the bold strokes of your design are now in, Jules, but how are we going for progress?
Good, good. Where we're standing now, this will be our lawn. And we've got compost mounded in the gardens. Over here we're going to have a lovely bluestone path curving around and bluestone edging throughout.
And down these steps here?
Oh, well, down these steps here, we've got a lovely water feature going in there with some very unusual boulders and our lush planting around our deck. And hasn't it opened the entrance up?
That looks grand. And more of your fabulous plants.
Yes, they're down there, and we've retained down there as well and done a lush subtropical planting.
The base of our water feature is a pre-moulded liner which is cemented into place. Power is connected by a registered electrician. Next step, the pump goes into place and a hose from the pump is threaded through pre-drilled stone balls. Then more stone, pebbles and power are scattered around to cover the liner. All we need now is some water. And there you have it, a very achievable and impressive water feature. Out front, it's planting time. Now, our subtropical plants need lots of water, so the annoying rain is actually coming in quite handy. Now, Bill, this is definitely one of my favourite plants in the garden so far, but cordyline stud muffin, I mean, where did you get a name like that from?
You have to ask moi. On a serious note, no, it wasn't named after me, but there is a trick with it, that it does provide a very good litter substitute for snails. So if snails are a problem in your area, it's a place you've got to use bait around, or in a country area, go grab a new bantam because they do a great job as well. It's a lovely plant, does great in tubs. It is frost shy, so it's not a plant for the colder regions.
Okay, so what I'm doing here is we've got some bluestone rock and we're leading this up as a path up to the top garden. Now how I'm laying this in is I'm using Gap 7 and cement. It's quite a dry, stiff mix, and I choose Gap 7 because it's easy to work with and I can bed the rock nicely into the base. It's a good idea to wet the bottom of the rock so it'll stick into place, and then you've got a nice solid base to walk on.
In spite of the terrible weather conditions, our bluestone pavers from Central Landscape Supplies are going down a treat. We'll see you shortly. This week's tropically themed makeover is at the final stages. The rain has stopped momentarily and the garden's really brightening up. Well, thank goodness we got that lawn down, Jules. It's covered up all the mud, but it really sets off all these gorgeous plants now. And it looks like the sun's almost coming out. Well, you've made a marvellous transformation here. Typical Kiwi front garden, but it looks wonderful.
It does, and anyone can create this within a microclimate. You can use some really striking plants. But the thing that really works well here, Paul, is this area down here.
You've opened it up, haven't you, Jules?
We have, and by taking this section of fence out, Paul, and providing a deck here, it just looks so much more welcoming.
And you scaled your planting down as well?
Yeah, we have. Still links in well with the front, ties in with a simple water feature, and it's an appropriate planting for the entranceway.
Now, if there's anything you want to know about the design, you can check out our website, including details of plants that will achieve the same effect for you if you live in colder areas.